Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer and I work for the Champaign County Forest Preserve District. I go all over Champaign County to lead programs, hikes, and tours, all to help people learn how to connect with the environment. I was supposed to come visit you at your local library this summer, but since I can't do that, I'm going to take you on a virtual hike at Homer Lake Forest Preserve. The summer reading theme is Dig Deeper, Read, Investigate, Discover. There are tons of ways to learn about nature, but a great way to start is by asking questions about the things that you see around you. Today, I'm going to be looking around for anything that I see that looks interesting, and together we'll see what we can learn about the things that I find. Now, I'm bringing along some tools to help. When you do an investigation, the whole point is to learn something, to get more information. There are lots of sources of information like books and the internet, but naturalists use something else called a field guide. Today, I'm going to be using a few different kinds of books because we're going to be seeing a lot of different kinds of things. So first, I have this Animal Tracks of Illinois book. This will help me if I see any animal footprints on the ground to help me see what animal may be left that behind. Next, I have the Prairie in Your Pocket book, which is a really simple guide. It has pictures in it, and that will help me identify some plants that I might be seeing. I also have a really simple Bugs and Slugs guide, which has pictures of all the different kinds of insects that I might be finding out here. And then finally, I have this bird guide book, which is a little bit more involved, but it's organized in a way to help you figure out what bird it is that you're seeing. Now, you might not have access to all these kinds of books, and that's okay. Maybe your library has some that you can borrow. If not, it's also a good idea to bring something with you to record information, like a notepad or a phone or a camera, or maybe a phone that has a camera and a notepad. But if you bring a little notepad, the point is you can write down information, whether you're drawing a picture or writing down descriptions or taking a photograph, and then you can look it up later. Now, I'm also bringing binoculars, a sweep net, and a little bug box, and these are going to help me while I'm on my hike. Since I am outside, I am thinking about the weather today. It is pretty warm and sunny, so I did put on sunscreen, and I'm bringing some water with me as well. I'm also wearing long pants and boots to help protect me from anything that might be harmful, like mosquitoes or ticks or poisonous plants. Now that we have all the tools that we need, we're ready to hit the trail. All right, so I've come off the trail and I see a plant that I'm interested in. So we're in a big prairie area, which means there's a lot of tall grasses and a lot of different kinds of plants. But this one drew my attention because it's blooming right now. It has white flowers and there's nothing else right now that I can see that has flowers. So I want to know more about this one. So since I know that I'm in a prairie area, that this is probably a prairie plant, I'm going to pull out my prairie guidebook. And when I open it up, I can see that the plants are organized kind of by what color the flower is. So since I know these flowers are white, I'm going to go and look for where the white flowers are, which is on the other side. And there's a lot of plants listed on this page. And it's kind of hard to narrow it down. So what you want to do is look at the leaves, look at the flowers, and just go through the list until you see one that looks pretty close. And what I find is this Western yarrow is what this one looks like. It has the same kind of leaves, the same kind of flower, and it says that it grows 2 to 3 feet tall from early June to mid-July, which is exactly right now. So that tells me that this is probably Western yarrow. Now, this is a prairie plant that's only going to bloom for a very short time, but there'll be other plants coming soon. Next, let's go see if we can find some insects. All right, so when you're sweeping for insects, there are a few things you want to remember. First, I have this really nice net. If you don't have a net, that's okay. You can use a sheet or anything that works really. And you want to do it in a tall grass area where there's not a lot of sticks because that's just going to cut your net. And you just sweep just like a broom. So another thing to remember is that we want to be careful what kind of insects we catch too. We don't want to try to catch anything with big wings like a dragonfly or a butterfly because that can damage their wings and we don't want to do that. Also, we don't want to try to catch any bees or wasps, right? That's going to make the bee angry and that could possibly lead to us getting stung. So we want to avoid those. Mostly it's going to look like you're not even catching anything in your net. And after you've swept through your grassy area, you look through your net and see if there's anything in there. And if you have a bug box with you, or even just a small little plastic container, you can catch what's in it. So I got lucky enough that I did catch an insect, and I already know what insect this is, but let's just say I didn't. I could look at my Bugs and Slugs guide. This guide is really easy because it breaks it up into the different families of insects. So we have it broken up between butterflies and moths and beetles and ants, grasshoppers, all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is look at this and try to narrow down which insect you think I have, okay? So I have looked through my guide and I've been able to determine that I have a ladybug. A true ladybug, not the other kind that we see a lot. So you can tell it's a ladybug. It's not actually in this guide, but I already knew that it was a ladybug. And it's just crawling around. And when I'm done looking at the insect, I'm just gonna let it go in the grass. Now that we have found some plants and some insects, let's see if we can find some birds. All right, so finally we're back here at the Interpretive Center to look for birds. The reason why we're here instead of being in the woods is because we actually have a wildlife bird viewing area in the back with a ton of bird feeders that attracts birds. So it makes it a little bit easier for us to try and find those birds. Let's take a walk back there. So, when it comes to bird watching, you have to be very careful. You want to be quiet and you want the birds to not know that you're there. So I'm standing a little bit farther away from our bird feeder area. If you have bird feeders at home, it's even better if you can watch them from inside because they can't hear you. So standing far enough away. The other thing that's really important is binoculars. It's really hard to see what birds look like close up without them. And if you want to try to figure out what bird it is, you need to be able to see it really well. Also, I have with me a really easy backyard bird guide that will help me identify any birds that I see that I might not know what they are. So I'm looking right now and I see a bird that I think that I know coming up to the feeders. This is a red bird, so that narrows it down. I think that it might be a cardinal. We'll get a closer look and double check in the guide just to be sure. The nice thing about this book is that it has pictures in color, so that helps you a lot when you're trying to identify your bird. So I was able to flip through and find the northern cardinal, and after reading through the description and double checking through my binoculars, I was able to confirm that the bird that I saw was a northern cardinal. There's so much to learn about nature. I challenge you to go on your own nature investigation. Go out into your backyard, come to one of the forest preserves, and just look for anything that you find interesting, then do some research. Your local librarian might even be able to help you. Whatever you do, as long as you're learning something, that's the goal. Thanks everyone for watching today and have a great summer.